I think it's actually a nicer method. I don't see why the broadcasters need to be live with the players. But hey everybody, welcome back to the Raid Call Dota 2 League. As always, I am Basekip, bringing you guys this game, and as always, big thank you to the organizers for letting me provide unofficial coverage for this game. Your official English coverage is AC and Draskell. They're over on the One More Game TV2 stream if you'd like to check them out. If you don't enjoy my coverage, if I'm lagging, or anything like that. So this is going to be a game. It's going to be a best of 3 set for the ladder / group stage, whatever you want to call it, portion of the tournament. It's going to be Empire against VP, and a matchup that I've definitely been looking forward to. I hope you guys have been as well. Two teams with fairly similar styles, fairly similar favorite heroes as well. And yeah, I'm really interested to see how this one plays out. We're actually going to have a Coddle as our very first ban here by VP, and the Coddle making his way into the first 4 bans has been a lot more prevalent of late. I mean, Phantom Lancer sort of crept his way in there. Yes, he got buffed up to 4.2 agility gain. He got his collision size made smaller, and he also got the cap on his illusions raised. But that didn't quite push him into the limelight for at least a little bit. Now, obviously, we're sort of seeing the impact of the PL these days. And Keeper of Light, I guess, if anyone wants a really quick rundown of why Coddle is so great with PL. Obviously, you've got the spammable nuke aspect, and then the other big thing, especially for a competitive setting, is that Keeper of Light is intensely difficult to offensively tri-lane against, and the best way to really shut down a Cancer Lancer or a Phantom Lancer is to just offensively tri-lane against him, shut down his early farm, and make him really not a threat. If he doesn't get those levels, if he doesn't get the farm, then I guess, just like any carry, he's fairly easy to deal with. So it is a little bit difficult to offensively tri-lane against a Keeper of the Light, and it requires some really tight execution, and it's just difficult in most even footings. In a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario, it's not really going to be all that great for you. So Bat Art is going to be banned out here by Empire. Nick's going to be removed from the pool by VP, and that sort of leaves the question marks hanging over the Darkseer, perhaps. Magnus as well, quite popular for both sides, and even the Wisp. That's the one that I'm forgetting there, and one that Wisp here that both teams do love to run, and run it so effectively as well. So we've seen both Coddle and Wisp banned out. Those two very, very strong support heroes already moved from the pool, so that's going to push Darkseer and Magnus through into the actual pick pool, though I think neither of them considered quite as strong as either the Wisp or the Coddle by both of these two teams. And interesting to see, again, how they're going to butt heads. We already had a prediction on a Gyrocopter pickup from someone in chat, and I think that's going to be fairly reliable. Magnus is going to be picked up here by VP. The natural sort of response for Empire, well, the standard response, quote-unquote standard, would be to go Darkseer and Rubik, but they could go for something like Bane and Gyro. I mean, Empire are known for those offensive tri-lanes. If they show their hand too early with the offensive tri-lane, then VP can already start to look to shut it down with some counter picks, though if Empire is sly about it, they should be able to get what they need. So Darkseer is going to be picked up here by Empire, and it's not going to be Rubik. It is going to be Gyrocopter here. So Recon, you're going to lose that bet because Empire have taken Gyro, and they do love to run Gyro as well. I think Gyro is pretty much Empire's favorite offensive tri-lane carry. And I think Bane is probably their favorite offensive tri-lane support as well. But VP do run the Bane a lot too. So as far as lanes go right now from Empire, Gyrocopter is either going to be, he's going to be in the tri-lane pretty much regardless. He could be mid, just depending on the matchup. And yeah, No Bro gets 1 point because he definitely called the Gyrocopter pick. So VP right now, they've got the Magnus in hand. He's probably going to be heading towards mid. Or just trying to find one of those 1v1 matchups. He's not necessarily all that great on the off lane anymore, especially with the change to the Skewer, though I think everyone should be pretty much familiar with that at this point. So VP right now, if they suspect that Empire are going to be looking for that offensive tri-lane, they could just look to try and pick their heroes out from underneath them. A Bane pickup would not be too bad at this point in time, and Bane pretty good against a Darkseer as well, especially if it ends up being an offlane Darkseer. The nice thing about Empire's lineup right now is just having a fantastic degree of flexibility. They can run the Gyrocopter in an offensive tri-lane, he can be in a defensive tri-lane just farming up, and then the same deal for the Darkseer. He can be on pretty much any lane, including the jungle. So VP, they're going to opt to lock in the Undying here. It's pretty early, frankly, to pick up the Undying, though I'm not sure if he would have made it through the next ban phase. And Bane going to be picked up as well. This is showing some really strong aggression from VP, and we might even see an offensive tri-lane from them. We'll see what the reaction is going to be from Empire. Obviously, Coddle already out of the pool, so pretty much the strongest defensive tri-lane support already out of the picture there. Gyrocopter not bad against the Undying. Obviously, since Flak Cannon is fantastic at clearing up zombies, makes the Tombstone a lot less of a threat. But Undying still really dangerous in those offensive, well, in an offensive tri-lane, just between Decay and Soul Rip. So we'll see how it all works out for them in this game. Hopefully we won't see the Undying and the Bane used as defensive tri-lane supports, because they're not great at killing off a Darkseer. If it ends up in a defensive tri-lane against a Darkseer, then Bane is okay to maybe waste a little bit of surge duration and then perhaps set up a kill. But Undying is really a guy he's looking for a fight. He doesn't want to be sitting back just trying to find a little bit of farm and then take it to the late game where his Tombstone isn't all that relevant. And the Strength Steal doesn't, turn people into wet paper bags like it does early game. But we'll have to see if Empire managed to pick up some good defensive tri-lane supports, then going for this offensive tri-lane from VP could be difficult. And Empire, they're actually going to opt to pick up the Luna here, so it looks like just setting themselves up perhaps for that defensive tri-lane. This might just bump Darkseer towards the off lane. Luna going to be in the defensive tri, and then Gyro's either going to be mid, or it might be a support Gyrocopter a la Akecopter, I suppose, from NTH. Luna's a nice pickup, because if you manage to grab yourself 2 600 range supports, you turn the Tombstone into an absolute joke. The bonus damage makes it really, really easy to deal with. And Luna pretty good in the defensive tri-lane as well. Shadow Demon, a very natural ban right now for VP, and I can't get these words out fast enough to try and get in before these picks, before they happen. And Shadow Demon, great with the Luna, complements her weaknesses fantastically. The defensive disruption means that you can keep her safe. You can get some really strong illusions as well going late game. It's fantastic for sort of slow rolling those pushes, and yeah, Shadow Demon, a nice tool to have in a defensive tri-lane for Empire, but not going to be available to them this game. Nake's going to be banned out here by Empire, and VP are probably still looking for that primary farmer in the offensive tri-lane. They could run the Undying as that primary farmer and grab a little bit more disable in a secondary support, though I don't think that's necessarily their style so much anymore. We did see Empire running that sort of style a little while ago with the Undying getting the primary farm in the offensive tri-lane, but probably not going to be seeing it here. Probably just looking for a primary farmer with a little bit of disable. The Bane, not bad, well, not a bad partner, obviously, with the Undying, but it would be nice to see perhaps just a little bit more damage and a little bit more control coming out of whatever that last hero is going to be. And Empire right now fishing for supports a little bit, so VP are just going to be choosing to ban out the obvious choices. Rubik going to be removed from the pool. Nice 600 range support, nice setup if you want to try and grab someone like Alina as well, and obviously quite strong against the Magnus, so they don't really want to give away to Rubik at this point, and also pretty strong against Bane. While you're channeling your ultimate, it's extremely difficult to avoid Rubik just stealing it unless he happens to be on the receiving end of the Fiend's grip. So definitely Rubik ban making sense. VP right now probably looking for their solos as well. Magnus probably going to be taking that solo mid. That they do need that they do need that solo safe lane as well if they are going to be running this offensive tri-lane, which they do look to be going for right now. Lone Druid does remain in the pool along with the Clinks. And if Empire are afraid of a Clinks being run against them, then they may have to ban it right now. We have seen that Funnick is very competent at winning the 1v1 matchup against a Clinks on the Darkseer, so perhaps leaving that one in the pool. And Empire just Funnick, such a ridiculously strong player in those 1v1 scenarios. He pretty much wins, he seems to win pretty much every single 1v1 when he's on, and I mean this is the obvious example that people always go for, that when he's on the Clinks he beats Darkseer, and when he's on the Darkseer he beats the Clinks, which is obviously a little bit anomalous because you would expect the matchup to favor one hero or the other, and most people would say that it favors the Darkseer a little bit, but Funnick does a really good job on the Clinks. So VP, if you're going to be running this offensive tri-lane, or if they are going to be running this offensive tri-lane, expecting to see that solo safe laner coming up, though it doesn't necessarily need to be this pick. If they're looking for a secondary support for that top lane for the offensive tri-lane to try and run the Undying as the farmer, then they're going to have to try and pick it up now, since Empire are still looking for whatever supports they can find. And Tinker actually going to be picked up here by VP. So a little bit interested to see that, and it's going to be played by Crazy. I'm not sure where this leaves the Magnus, and yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to work with VP's supports either. Tinker can be a solo safe lane hero, but they don't really know who he's going to be up against right now. And against the Darkseer, definitely not great, but Tinker, always fantastic for that global presence, and March of the Machines, completely untenable to fight in as well. So not bad to see the pick, and I'm really looking forward to see Crazy play it. He is absolutely fantastic on that hero. So Puck is going to be taken here by Empire, and it's a farm fest right now over on Empire. This has got to be pushing the Gyrocopter into a more support role. And then Puck, it's definitely Scandal's hero, though. We'll see who's going to be playing it this game. And then Empire, I guess, just looking for that last support right now. So VP, what's it going to be for you guys to round this off? Interested to see how they're going to lane this, frankly. And I'm not going to try and make any predictions at the risk of looking a little bit stupid. So yeah, it's a really interesting lineup to see from VP. Tinker sort of has that early to mid theme going, but Undying and Bane, two heroes that you really want to be making full use of early on, and Faceless Void going to be the pickup here by VP. So looks like perhaps just Undying and Bane going to be in a safe lane, tri-lane. Tinker perhaps heading towards mid, and then Magnus going to be on the off lane. I guess if I had to make a prediction, but interesting to see. And yeah, VP going to be playing a little bit more defensive here, I suspect. Interesting to see with their supports, though. Undying and Bane, I mean, I've been talking about them like they're weak, heading towards the late game and things like that. Undying does fall off a little bit of a cliff, but Bane does manage to stay relevant.
5 seconds remaining.
So yeah, and I feel the exact same, Kurgel. It's just what is going on? What is my brain? But anyway, and Empire, how are you gonna round it off? Maybe a traditional support. We'll see. It does look really greedy for them right now, especially if everybody is trying to get farm sort of typical for their role, especially having that Gyrocopter, though. I think he's going to be bumped down into a support gyro sort of role, and then maybe just the hard support coming out right now. There's still plenty of options left in the pool, and if VP aren't going to be running this offensive tri-lane, they're just really looking for someone to try and deal with the Magnus a little bit better. Would be nice to see just a straight out targeted stun from them. And yeah, VS would be a nice pickup, definitely Recon. Because right now, if they're going to be running defensive tri-lane against defensive tri-lane, then the battlefield is going to be ganks on mid. And right now, Tinker, if he's going to be on mid, he's extremely susceptible. It'd be nice to see them, it's going to be Jakiro, so not necessarily a huge ganking support, but Empire maybe still thinking that something weird could be run, some sort of offensive tri-lane. So they pretty much get the second best defensive tri-lane support in the game in the Jakiro, and not a bad pickup for the lineup. They've got a huge amount of team fight, and Jakiro and Darkseer, there's some really nice synergy there between the Ice Wall and the Vacuum. So everybody's going to be picking up their heroes. We're going to be heading ourselves into the game. Over on the side of Empire, it's going to be Goblak playing the Gyrocopter. Funnick is going to be on the Darkseer. Silent, or SS, is going to be on the Jakiro. Scandal on the Puck, and that leaves Blow Your Brain to play the Luna. Over on the side of VP, we've got Santa playing the Magnus. Airman is going to be on the Faceless Void. TMW, or Tame My Wild, or Crazy, is going to be on the Tinker. NS on the Bane, and that leaves KSI to play the Undying. And what are starting items hinting at right now? Airman's managed to grab himself a poor man's shield, so maybe suspecting that he's going to have to be alone a little bit down on this bottom lane. There aren't any smokes or anything picked up for the Undying, and the Bane, though they're not necessarily great ganking supports, especially when it's going to be a Puck mid played by Scandal. And that might be a problem, frankly, for VP. They will be able to force team fights. There's good team fight on both sides, but yeah, and that is just a Drodo courier. Kurgel in chat commenting that she thought it was she, I don't know, doesn't matter, thought it was Slark. So right now for VP, it's pretty much just going to be defensive tri-lane. They've got obs, they've got sentries. Gonna pass off the obs to, well, gonna pass off the sentries to KSI. For Empire right now, they've actually got 3 heroes grouped up down on bottom lane. So it looks like it's gonna be, what's it gonna be here? I mean, Goblak gonna be on the Gyrocopter, Silent on the Jakiro, and looking perhaps like an offensive tri-lane, but we'll have to see. Haste rune is our 0-minute rune right now, and I've got spectator chat open, so I'll just have to quickly get rid of that one. Okay, so it's Void mid. It's Crazy farming bot as Tinker, so he doesn't want to get ganked. And it's going to be an offensive tri-lane from Empire. This is some of the strangest stuff I have seen in a very long while, but we'll have to see. Is it just Crowl? Sorry. Anyway, we've got some action happening down on bot right now. We've got a sleep up on Silent and just going to be chased down right now. I'm not sure if right clicks are going to be enough to bring him down. Goblak comes in with the haste. He's going to look to do some damage with the rocket barrage, and KSI down trouble, but the march just going to zone everyone out. That's probably going to be the end of the fun right now for this first blood. And Crazy just going to go back to do a little bit of farming. Silent actually coming down and around, maybe just looking to get off a ward on the pull. And actually just juking into the trees right now. So it's a really haphazard offensive tri-lane right now from Empire, but looking to put some pressure on whoever's down on this bottom lane. The mid matchup is Faceless Void against Puck. So have to give the edge a little bit to the Puck, at least as far as CS goes, but Faceless Void fairly difficult to kill, especially solo for a Puck. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm woeful with pronunciations, as you may or may not have seen. Our top lane is going to be a Magnus against a Darkseer, giving the edge at least a little bit to the Darkseer. Santa's probably going to need some help. And just any melee against Darkseer, not a fun setup. And Airman, how aggressive is the build? He started off with 1-1-1, so we'll see where it progresses from here. Get an Ice Path down on Crazy, but it's just harassment being traded back and forth down in this bottom lane right now. Unfortunately for Empire, the only real disable that they have is the Ice Path, and the stun duration isn't exactly huge on the early levels, so while they are down here putting some pressure on and finding a little bit of farm on Blow Your Brain, it's nothing particularly inspiring just yet. So, though it is having the desired effect. They are putting pressure on Crazy. And the top 3 farmers on the map right now, though it is still early, are all of Empire's heroes. A 2-minute rune has just spawned, and Scandal just giving a glance up there. He's got his bottle coming out right now, so doesn't really want to have to head up and grab it just yet. And he knows he's got the lane control, especially against Airman. Airman doesn't want to be giving away 2-minute pause. VP Airman's just jumped forward so aggressively onto Scandal using the time walk, and he's just sitting here thinking, well, okay, he's got phase shift, but a lucky bash here from Airman might actually be trouble, so we'll see. But yeah, it's void time right now. Scandal does have phase shift. He's got a salve. I don't think he's gonna die. The bash proc chance is 10%. I think it's pseudo-random as well, so it's going to be even lower than that. But yeah, that's a little bit of an interesting pause to see, and we'll see if this might be our first blood on mid. We've got some action happening down here at bot at the same time. There is a path cut through the trees, just through here. KSI still holding on to those, well, still holding on to his sentries right now, and well, Silent does actually have his obs still in his inventory as well. Both teams do know that they're going to have rune vision. It's completely invaluable, frankly. If you don't have rune vision for the first 6 minutes of the game, then you risk having even like a DD haste Faceless Void running at your running at your trial lane. That's not a situation that you want. So both teams are pretty sure that there's going to be rune vision, and right now there's a lane ward down for VP. It's pretty far back, so managing to stay safe from the standard D ward position, which is just right about here. At least I think so. And then I think Silent still just trying to hold on to that obs to perhaps try and block at the camp, or maybe get a ward back behind the tower. Maybe he hasn't been able to get into a position that he's happy with just yet. If he's able to get down into this region with the Observer Ward, then he might be able to get VP to use both of their sentries to try and de-ward it, since the common guess, and the right guess, frankly, is going to be to put the sentry ward right here, which actually spots this spot and Magic Bush and the one over in these trees and pretty much anything, in this region of the camp. But this camp spawn box is actually a little bit interesting in that it extends all the way down to this tree line, and there are wards all the way along here that can actually block out the camp. But if you put it here, most supports are going to say, okay, well, it's probably up here. This is the right place to guess. And then you force them to invest their second sentry down here, which is actually a little bit more difficult to de-ward as well, because you need to be careful about your sentry placement and not blocking your own camp. On mid, Scandal's going to try and salve up. He gets his bottle delivered at the same time, so he's got 3 sips there, and the illusion rune waiting for him up on top. So not actually too much of a loss there, losing the salve just to try and survive. Up on top, Funnick just putting down some damage on Santa. Santa, again, not really expected to find too much farm, against the Darks here at the moment. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Down on bot, still a whole bunch of posturing. Both of the carries just doing an okay job in terms of finding that farm goes. Levels for the support's pretty even. They haven't really been able to do much with their pull right now, VP, so not really pulling ahead too much. And Empire just going to be splitting XP 3 ways. It's just the nature of having this offensive trialing. You can't really afford to have people ducking out of XP range to try and get more levels up on your carry. And we've actually got some sentry wards dropped off right now for Silence. Looks like he's going to go and will go for a little bit of a D ward, and there's one position right here that pretty much does spot everything down on this bottom rune, so we'll see if he's going to be able to get rid of this Radiant ward right now. He might even just try and use some of those to ensure that his Observer ward, trying to block out the camp, stays up, or even just use the sentries to block out the camp. He's actually going to throw a sentry ward down in the river. Not sure what that's about. Maybe suspecting that their ancients are blocked off or something. 4 minute rune's coming up in just a second, but yeah, that's a bit of an unusual sound. Actually now goes up and around to try and check things out. Invisibility spawns down on bot for our 4 minute rune, but that's about it so far. And that's just driving Blow Your Brain out of the lane right now. But I have to say, Scandal and Funnick finding fantastic farm in their respective lanes and a long way ahead of the closest farmer on the side of VP. So these solo lanes actually working out fantastically at the moment for Empire. And Scandal, again, he's got all the rune control that he wants. Airman isn't really going to be looking to contest runes, especially as a faceless void. He really just wants the XP. He really wants the farm. And enjoying the brief respite that the puck being out of the lane does afford him. So Funnick eating some harassment up on top, but Santa almost out of mana right now. And the courier is actually heading towards mid at the moment. What's it got going on? There's nothing on the courier right now. So not... it's actually going up and around. Oh, Santa's in trouble up on top. Funnick still chasing through. Santa gonna go for the skewer back into tower range. Funnick maybe just gonna have to walk away from this one. Nicely played there by Santa, managing to keep himself alive. And what is this courier going for? It's just gonna be a ring of health down on bot. Anything happening just yet? Not quite, so... just a little bit more posturing from both teams. We've got Stick picked up on NS, Stick picked up on KSI. So nice pickup, especially in these tri-lane versus tri-lane scenarios. Same story for Go Black and for Blow Your Brain. So both of these teams extremely well versed in the art of try versus try. And just getting a few slaps out on Scandal on mid. That's actually his ring of health there, so a little bit more sustain. He's finding okay farm on mid, but obviously Funnick has managed to find double his up on top, and Santo actually forced to head all the way back to base, so now down at level 5, while Funnick almost up to level 7 right now. And just the nature of the matchup, Magnus doesn't have a fantastic time against the Darks here and hasn't died just yet, so everything's okay. 6 and Urns just about to spawn. Empire still doing a good job of keeping the pressure on Crazy, but he's finding a little bit of farm right now. Unfortunately, they couldn't really send anyone off to try and stack up Ancients or really stack up neutrals too much. KSI could be looking to do that, at least to try and ensure some farm on the Tinker later on, but for now most of his attention is being forced into the lane, and as the Jakiro and the Gyrocopter get a higher level, it does become a lot scarier. Oh, Scandal's got a haste. He's heading down towards bot. He's got the Dream Coil ready, and Crazy actually in trouble right now. They're going to pull off the Nightmare, but he's already dead. Scandal comes in, throws in the Dream Coil, but that first blood already drawn. Are they going to back off? There's a Lucent Beam. NS gets soul ripped up. Looks like he might survive for now, and our Empire going to go for this dive. Scandal actually pretty low on mana, throws out the orb, fishing for an S right there. We've got a homing missile flying through onto KSI, and the missile will actually be able to will be able to tank the tower for a little bit, but Crazy's going to be TPing in, and with that March of the Machines, I think that's pretty much the end of the aggression down this bottom lane. But first blood drawn by Empire, and not desperately needed, but nice all the same. Funnick up on top. We saw him back in between the tier 1 and the tier 2 earlier, and just doing really whatever he wants up on this lane right now. Santa can't really contest him all that much. If he manages to get tower aggro onto Funnick, then he can try and polarity him and maybe nuke him down, but just the level discrepancy is really hurting Santa right now. And Funnick knows it, taking full advantage of it right now up on top. So, tier 1 tower already down at about half HP, and yeah, Funnick just keeping Santa scared at the moment. So, Scandal's going to head back towards mid. Airman has actually managed to get quite a bit of farm up in his absence, so nice there, and a lucky backtrack as well at the same time. Nice two-man Ice Path down on bot. Look at the March coming through. The homing missile going to just ping NS for a little bit of damage there. Oh no, actually not in the end. It's 30 gold going his way. But Empire, it's a bit interesting right now. Both teams are finding farm in this try versus try. There's not a whole lot of kill power going back and forth. And Airman, what's he got picked up right now? Airman actually denied to Scandal there, so a little bit of rune control happening for the Faceless Void. And Funnick almost finished with this tier 1 tower up on top. The creep wave has been pulled off. He really wants it. He knows it's in deny range. Looks like he's just going to try and punch it to death right now. Oh, the fortification as well. TP coming up. VP want this deny, and looks like they are going to be able to secure it. So nice little play there. It did cost them a TP and the fortification, but it's 500 less gold that Empire are getting. And at this early stage of the game, especially when they've got a Faceless Void that they're sort of waiting to come online, denying any sort of farm to Empire is going to be absolutely crucial, especially since they are the more sort of early game oriented lineup, especially with the Luna, who sort of has that strength all the way through the game. So a nice investment from VP and should be paying off in the long run. Got Scandal making his way up towards top lane right now. They're looking for Santa. There's the vacuum back into the coil. Santa going to be skewering himself away, but brings Funnick with him, and the Ion Shell damage. Well, the Ion Shell doing damage all the while. So another kill picked up there for Empire. 2-0 on the board. As far as XP goes, it's about 500 in their favor right now, and about a 3k gold lead as well. Though some of that is the denied tower and that first blood. So not a huge advantage just yet. Sound actually needs to be a little bit careful right now, but there isn't really any vision down on bot for VP, and since they're shy of support as well, both just tower hugging right now. And they've got a ward drop back behind the tier 1 tower as well for Empire. And we've actually got Scandal now making his way down towards bot as well. Dreamcall going to be on cooldown at least for a little bit, and it's just doing a little bit of warding of his own. And looks like he's actually opted to pick up the the first point at level 4 in stats. So nothing too unusual there, frankly, for a Bane build. And Airman just farming away on mid. He's finished up his treads. KSI goes to the stack, unsuccessful. Since he was trying to pull down into the trees, it's a little bit more difficult as far as the spawn box goes. And yeah, it's pretty much it right now. As far as what both teams need to be doing, I think Empire is still sticking fairly close to their game plan. Funnick's actually got his mech finished up right now. So he's actually in a pretty good spot. Airman's got a haze heading towards mid. The orb's already being used by Scandal. Is he going to try and back himself off? There's a chrono on him. Bashes are going to be doing double damage here, and NS comes in as well. Looks like Scandal is going to drop. No, he manages to phase shift. Dream Coil as well. He's still alive. He bottles, and the Dream Coil, oh, broken by Airman's jump. Scandal survives. What a play from him. And that's 2 kills picked up by Empire. That was a little bit unlucky, frankly, for the Faceless Void, and I feel like NS backed off at the last moment. But yeah, oh my lord, what a turnaround there from Scandal. That was absolutely fantastic to watch. So yeah, Scandal puck, need I say more, frankly. So Empire putting the pressure on mid right now, should be able to secure themselves this tier 1. So a little bit more map control going their way. Now a 4-0 lead as far as kills are concerned. And this comes in to NS pokes his head in, but not really going to be able to do all that much. And Funnick, off to a fantastic start, can really start to look to put pressure on other lanes. While he is away, Santa is finding a little bit of farm up on top, but not really all that much. Sant comes down, is going to spot out Crazy. He's got his soul ring picked up. And just blows traded right now. Tool breath thrown out as well, but VP come in with a vengeance. The skewer misses, but the reverse polarity right on the money, and KSI coming in as well. He wants a little bit of this action. Looks like he maybe just picked up some assist gold there. Funnick walks in. Airman doesn't have the Chronosphere just yet, but he actually finds a lucky bash. There's the Nightmare as well, wasting all of that surge duration. Funnick now in trouble. The Tombstone drop as well. He's still got that mech. Gonna pop it as he heads up onto the high ground. Vacuum back. Can he survive? He's got a surge in just a second. He's walking them straight into Blow Your Brain, who pops the Eclipse. Funnick still running, but a very long range Brain Sap finds that kill. But nicely played by Funnick, have to say, and I don't think that Eclipse really did anything. I think it got soaked a little bit by the neutrals, and it is only 3 beams. At level 1, oh, Airman in trouble. He's backtracking like a madman, and just going to jump himself over the cliff there. So, sheesh. This is some exciting Dota so far, gotta say. Scandal putting some pressure up on top, and VP with that last engagement, evening things up a little bit on the scoreboard. And Airman alive for both of those kills as well, so some assist gold going his way as far as net worth is concerned. He is a little bit behind Funnick right now, but still not doing a bad job on the faces forward. But it's still a long way for him to really be that threat that he's looking to be in this game. And oh, we've got a nightmare out on Blow Your Brain. Santa's going to be looking for the skewer straight back into the waiting tombstone. Going to be a nice easy kill picked up there by VP. And Empire just nowhere to be seen there as well. So, I mean, the Luna was feeling pretty confident since they've got wards down pretty much everywhere in the Radiant jungle, spotting out any movements, but VP find the kill. All the same, Funnick heads down towards bot, joined by Sound and KSI off on the side with the trees. Dual Breath goes through, still just trying to hide for now. Goes for the sword, the call down thrown as well, not able to top himself off whatsoever. So one more kill going the way of Empire, and KSI just not sure why he walked down into the tree line instead of retreating back behind his tower. And Empire going to be able to claim another tier 1 down on bot at the same time. Fortification is available, but with 4 heroes here, VP not going to be wasting it. So things looking pretty good for Empire right now. They've got a fairly significant gold lead, 5k as far as that one's concerned, and about a 2k XP swing as well. Funnick extremely rich, and just showing that the Dark Seer, similar to the Luna, just really has that impact all throughout the game. He's got his fast mech, he's got fast 4 points in Ion Shell, and there's just not really anyone on VP that can afford to stand near that all too long at this point. So the push is going to continue. KSI can help slow it down a little bit, but again, with the Luna, Tombstone not really all that much of a threat, especially with the ranged heroes that they do have to just sort of ping it down. And right now, Airman has to be farming. He can try and jump in to go for a bit of a chrono. He doesn't actually have a TP on him right now, which I suspect maybe a little bit of a mistake. Empire not playing too aggressively. Oh, the skewer does catch. Scandal is going to try and run. Gets the silence off as well. Dream Call thrown. Santa's actually going to be breaking that one. In comes Glowblack. Throws down the call down. Just trying to buy some space for Scandal. But Empire rejoining the fight with a vengeance. We've got the march down right now from Crazy. Trying to put an end to all of this nonsense down on bot. But almost a pretty convincing turnaround for Empire. And I think perhaps Magnus may be regretting not throwing out that, not throwing out the reverse polarity. It would have only been on the puck, but probably a worthwhile kill all the same. And with one hero on the sidelines for Empire, they can't really look to push as aggressively as they are doing right now. So, Blow, Yasha now picked up for him, so not doing too badly as far as farm is concerned. And definitely does more with the farm at this early stage of the game. You can see that he's actually opted to not max out the Lucent Beam, and is really going for a more push-oriented build. He got the 2 points in Lunar Blessing sort of for the tri-lane early on. But now that he's ducking into the jungle, may have held some points for the Moonglaze, but does now have 2 points picked up, and makes the jungling fairly quick, fairly efficient. And it's a nice decision, especially given that they've taken all of the tier 1 towers for VP, so they can actually look to keep their lane sort of hugged up back to the tier 2s, and that makes it difficult for Luna to farm. So I guess big ups to Blow Your Brain for the skill build there. It's I guess that's the explanation. It's not that he's doing anything too phenomenal. We've got some ancient stacking happening right now for VP. So a little bit of a recovery mechanic, either for the Tinker or for the Faceless Void, as this game drags on. And it's just going to be making his way down towards bot. He is now up to level 6, so he's got that all-important Fiend script online. And Crazy just making some use of the jungle as well, just trying to find whatever farm he can with that march. But it's a brief respite right now, frankly, for VP, and while the XP and gold are actually still both swinging out heavily in Empire's favor, while they're not putting the pressure on, the clock is still ticking up, and Faceless Void is becoming a little bit scarier with every passing minute. So there is a bit of a timer on, there is a little bit of timer on things for Empire, especially with the Faceless Void in the game, but I think feeling pretty confident with their position right now. And actually it looks like eyes on Roshan at the moment. There is vision, this freshly planted VP ward, going to be spotting this one out, but it's a question of whether or not they can contest. They do have Chronosphere, they do have reverse polarity up as well. And the narrow confines of the Roshan pit, not a bad place to throw down some marches either, but Empire actually going to be heading into the pit, and looks like it's going to go uncontested right now from VP. Looks like their ward was removed as well with this sentry, but they have to know about it, just deciding against it right now, and trying to find some farm of their own. And maybe just feeling confident that they can hold out the 6 minutes that Empire will have that Aegis advantage. So it is some XP, it is some gold going their way, but it's not necessarily game ending at this point. Well, not necessarily game ending at this point. Scandal does almost have his Blink Dagger finished up, so it's going to be a pretty big pickup for him. And Funnick picked up the Point Booster. We'll see if he opts to head towards a pipe before finishing off his Ags. It could just be a casual Point Booster. It's a little bit difficult to say which way it's going to be. Empire doing a little bit of ancient stacking of their own, so getting some more farm up on Blow Your Brain. And he's still got this Gauntlet of Strength picked up, so we'll see if it's going to be... Well, we'll see if he goes towards a drum or some more of those early game sort of pushy items, or if it's just going to start to be heading towards that BKB for him. There are a lot of things that sort of go through BKB on VP right now, so maybe just going to try and find the health somewhere else, since he's going to be, with a BKB, contesting with Chronosphere, contesting with Fiend's Grip, contesting with Reverse Polarity, and then also sort of dealing with the March of the Machines. So, while the BKB is always nice for a little bit of survivability, we might have to see Blow Your Brain going a slightly alternative build, and if he doesn't go for the BKB, he can get an earlier Satanic, or an earlier Heart, and get the survivability from that. So, 2k gold up in the bank. Just going to be picking himself up a TP Scroll. We've got a 4-man smoke, 1-man push from VP right now, but Empire have to be suspicious. There's no one in the other lanes, and they're actually just sending Blow Your Brain down bot aggressively right now, while 4 heroes are going to be holding up on top. Funnick and goes forward, putting some damage out onto Airman. The rest of VP going to reveal themselves. We've got the Fiend's Grip up on Funnick. He might drop already. No, is he going to be able to get the mech off? Yes, he is. Nice wall, nice vac. Ice wall as well. 2 already dead. In comes the Eclipse, laying waste to VP. That's a 5-0 wipe in the favor of Empire. What a team fight from them, and just not being able to burst down Funnick in time. Got out of the Fiend's Grip, got the mech off, and then a huge vacuum wall ice path. Pretty much spelling VP's death there. We had a Reverse Polarity, but I think it was a little bit later on in the fight. But yeah, what a team fight from Empire, and should be able to claim a tier 2. At least, well, maybe a second tier 2 after this one, off the back of that one. Especially with the majority of the ultimates on cooldown for VP right now. So Crazy's just going to TP himself down towards bot. He does have his Boots of Travel online now, so looks to do a little bit of split pushing. Though he does need to be careful with the puck continually on the field. And Darkseer can sort of make anyone a threat as well for the split pushing Tinker, just with the Surge. So we'll have to be a little bit careful, but can keep the lanes pressured out and just buy more time for VP, since their ace in the hole, their hope for this game is Airman finding farm. So it's just turtle galore at the moment for VP, and we'll see how long they're going to be able to hold onto their tier 2s. They are steadily losing map control, and Empire pushing this advantage further and further out. About 10k the XP swing, and about 12k the gold. More and more items coming online, and looks like Blow Your Brain just going to be sticking sort of with the early game push theme. Going to be making his way towards his Manta style right now. So it gets a little bit of survivability off the Ultimate Orb, which I did mention he probably will need, especially if he's not going to be going for that BKB. Crazy's just going to be chased back by Funnick right now on mid. We've got some rockets and some nukes, just saying, Funnick, stay away from our side of the river. We really want to get some farm on. Our Void, but Empire actually just taking control of the Radiant jungle right now. And if VP lose their remaining tier 2s within probably the next 10 minutes, they're definitely going to be in trouble, because Empire, I think they're just going to hunker down in VP's jungle and not leave, play starvation tactics. And Faceless Void doesn't even have his Battle Fury just yet. Doesn't have that big farm accelerator online. And with a hero like Faceless Void, when you go for Battle Fury, which he does actually now have finished, it's only really a farm accelerator. It does help him out a little bit as far as fights go, but he's not looking to stop there, and he's not looking to be active as soon as he picks that one up. It's really a farming item, and especially with no attack speed. If we were expecting Airman to try and fight a little bit earlier on, then we might have seen something like a Maelstrom. It gives you cleave, gives you some nice attack speed, so it's a little bit more fight-oriented from Void. But with the Battle Fury really showing that VP appreciate that if there's any hope for them in this game, it's this game going late and then leveraging their big defensive team fight ultimates to try and get them there. So working out well for now, but Funnick, oh my god, already an Aghanim Scepter finished up for him. This is one rich Darkseer right now. And the aggressive warding continues from Empire, so they've got tabs on all of VP's movements right now through their jungle, and even a little bit up on the high ground. Oh, down on bot. Missed a kill on Crazy, just Silent and Funnick finding that one. So sorry about that, guys. Airman's gonna jump in, throw out the chrono on 2. Support is forthcoming as well. The Jakiro already dead. Funny gonna try and search himself away, and actually heading down into the trees right now, suspecting that support is coming in. Would have seen some of this in that ward as well, and they're looking for him. But can they find him? He's got one more surge, and unfortunately, NS not able to get in range for that Fiend's Grip. And at the same time, Empire Manta style pops off for Blow Your Brain on mid, and they're just looking to claim this tier 2 tower. Easy peasy. We've got some TPs heading back right now from KSI. He's going to be able to slow things down a little bit. And more TPs coming in, but Blow's going to pop off the Eclipse. Santa already dead. KSI drops as well. Scandal with the jump in. And it's just going to be a tombstone to farm right there for Go Black. 3 dead right now for VP. The tier 2 follows shortly after. And Empire probably just going to be looking to wail on the tier 3 for a little bit right now. Does anyone have buyback over on VP? There is a buyback available for Santa. There is not for Crazy, and there is not for KSI, so Santa really wants to just try and farm up towards that Blink Dagger. They're really going to have to just take the damage right now. And Empire, the team fight coordination has been absolutely pristine from them, frankly. I mean, it looks like they're in a bad position, and then snap your fingers, split second, before you know it. It's actually trouble for VP. Airman jumps in, but immediately gets silenced. There's a Fiend's Grip up on Funnick. Santa looking for the reverse polarity. He does connect it on 2, but Funnick's still alive. He's going to have the mech in just a second. Go Black standing his ground, throws down the call down. The vacuum in as well. Crazy's going to drop just to the damage from Blow Your Brain. It's 1-for-1 the exchange right now, but Empire is still looking for blood. We've got the Tombstone down, a Nightmare up on Silent. He's drawing fire right now and throwing down some fire at the same time. He's actually going to Veil of Discord. Look at Santa melt. The kill is going to be picked up there by NS, and KSI just trying to shepherd anyone else out of the base right now, but nicely played from VP. Empire back. They're here with a vengeance, and it's going to be a payback right now from Santa. It looks like it's just going to be 1 Rax picked up by Empire, and Blow Your Brain, 4.3k gold up in the bank for him. This is one fat Luna. And now does finally get ahead of, well, does not finally get ahead of Funnick. Airman with the jump in. He did have the Chronosphere available, but I guess still second thoughts for a second. God, that was awful. Sorry about that. But yeah, second thoughts about that one. And they don't really have any big ultimates to follow up on it either. So just going to let Empire retreat, and what a fight from them, frankly. I mean, Blow Your Brain, he's going to have whatever item he wants coming up soon. And Airman still just sitting back on that Battle Fury. He's now going towards the BKB, which is a more fight-oriented item, and Empire really bringing the fight to VP right now. Oh, Scandal's got an invis, and Crazy's just TP'd in on mid. And Dream Call is available. We'll see if he's going to be able to find this kill. Santa does reveal himself as well. So I think Scandal's just going to be doing a little bit of scouting for the moment. And they know this ward is here right now from Empire, but actually choosing to leave it up. They've got an Obs, they've got a sentry down on the low ground, and that should be spotting that one out. Crazy jumps in towards the top, and Blow Your Brain actually in trouble. Santa jumps through. Oh, the nuke just misses. Is Blow Your Brain going to be fast enough? Oh, no. One last jump from Airman. I was just going to say that his Tranquil Boots were going to be unbroken in just a second, and he was going to get that bonus move speed, but Airman removing any hope of that one. Finds himself a kill, and it's actually, well, it's a streak ender as well, so that's some nice gold going his way. Funnick rushing up towards top. Crazy going to be TPing himself in as well. VP looking for this tier 1. Is there going to be a punish? Scandal and Funnick looking for this one, but it's a 2v3, well, 2v3 situation. I was right the first time. Right now, and we've actually got Silent moving down and around at the same time, and unfortunately NS forced to try and hold on to mid. Looks like he might just be leaving the creeps behind for Airman. Perhaps they're pushing in quite heavily right now, and he's nowhere to be seen. Now Airman just going to be going for the neutrals. Are they going to be able to get the stack off? Time lock keeping them in position, but yeah, looks like that timing should be fine. So a little bit more XP and gold banked up for the Faceless Void, and while Empire are, well, there are 1 Rax up, it's only 1 Rax, and VP do sort of have a path back into this game. Actually turning the over 15k XP lead a little bit back right now, and about over a 20k gold lead, flattening out a little bit since Empire sort of run out of easy towers to take. So right now for Empire, going to be pretty happy with their position, frankly. They're up a whole bunch of kills. Roshan going to be respawning in just a second, and we've got a point booster and an Eagle Song picked up for Blow Your Brain, so we might see Aghanims and an Ethereal Blade from him, depending on how confident he's feeling with his position in this game. Might just be the slightly more conservative Butterfly. But yeah, Empire just finding a little bit more farm. Going to be waiting for Roshan to respawn, so that's going to be up right now. And VP, they're coming in and they're looking to stop this. There's actually only a sentry ward keeping any vision right now, and Sound just going to be staying up on the high ground. But VP are going to be able to get quite close with this initiation, and Airman walks down. Do they know he's there just yet? There's an invis. Funnick jumps in. There's a vacuum. The Sounds, the Dream Coil, the Chronosphere in over the top, but I think it's just a little bit too late. KSI is almost dead. So then as Airman going to work, but all of Empire is still alive, and the mech pops. Airman's going to try and retreat. Goes for the TP. Oh, it's the sneakiest TP you've ever seen. He's going to be able to escape, but the GG well played going to be called by VP. But remember, folks, it's not over. This is the best of 3 set, and while Empire have shown their stuff here, I think VP going to have something to say in game 2. So, nicely played, and every single team fight absolutely pristine from Empire. I mean, Scandal jumped in, they got a huge silence, they Dream Coiled, they vacuumed everyone out of the Dream Coil to get the tether stun, and then the wall dropped, and that was it. What a team fight, frankly. What the 3 team fights that we saw, top, mid, and the Roshan pit, were all absolutely ridiculous, and the Aegis is just going to be plopping around on the ground right now as the game ends. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I've been Baseskip. This was the Raid Call RD2 League. This is game 1 of a best of 3 set for the group stage between VP and Empire. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Looks like I did drop a few frames in amongst the last game, though hopefully that won't continue. A reminder, as always, and a big thank you to the Raid Call guys for letting me provide unofficial coverage for this game. If you're looking for the official coverage, that's AC and Draskell over on the One More Game TV2 stream. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll be back with game 2 fairly shortly, I hope.